Have you ever had that feeling, that sense that maybe you're in the right place at exactly the right time? Well, today we're unpacking a really powerful idea from a devotional text. It's this concept that your life isn't just a series of random events, but that you've been strategically placed for a specific mission. Let's dive right in.
This one question, it's really the core of everything we're talking about today. It was asked during a huge life-or-death crisis, but the source material we're looking at says it's a question for every single one of us. What if your current situation, the good, the bad, all of it, is the very reason you exist, right here, right now?
So, to really get the weight of that question, we've got to go back to where it all started. This is the story of Esther, a young Jewish woman who, through this unbelievable series of events, becomes a queen. And just when you think it's a fairy tale, she finds herself at the center of a deadly plot to wipe out her entire people. Okay, so here's the rundown. Esther becomes the queen of Persia. It sounds amazing, right? But this dream job turns into an absolute nightmare. A top official named Haman masterminds the plot for the genocide of the Jews. Her cousin Mordecai gets word to her and says, "You have to do something." But for her act meant walking up to the king without being called. And that was an offense punishable by instant death. The stakes couldn't be higher.
And this is the key takeaway the text pulls from the story. Her royal position wasn't just some cushy gig for her own comfort, it was a platform for a purpose. The timing of it all, her becoming queen, this sudden threat, it's not seen as a coincidence. The source calls it a divine setup. Her crown wasn't just for her, it was for a mission that would change history.
So, what does this ancient story from Persia have to do with us? Well, the source uses Esther's high-stakes situation as a blueprint for a much bigger principle, one that it says applies to every single one of us. We're shifting from her story to your story, right here, right now.
And the core idea is pretty radical. It's this: there is absolutely nothing accidental about your life. Think about it. The family you have, the city you live in, the skills you've developed. According to this text, none of that is random. It's all part of an intentional design.
Now this whole idea, the source actually gives it a name, predestination. And here it's defined as the belief that the big pillars of your life, when and where you were born, where you are right now, and what you're meant to do, are all part of a grand, divine orchestration.
But why? What's the point of all this divine orchestration? The answer the text gives is influence. The idea is that you've been strategically positioned, kind of like a key piece on a chessboard, to make a real impact on the world around you, for a purpose that's bigger than yourself.
Okay, so that naturally leads to the next big question. If we're put here to have influence, what exactly is our mission? What's the why behind our strategic spot on the board? And what's interesting is that the text says this mission isn't some huge abstract thing, it's right where you are. These are your assignments, your spheres of influence, your family, your job, your city, and even your country. This is where you're meant to make a difference.
And then, bam, the purpose is laid out super clearly. The primary role, it says, is to be a soul winner and kingdom ambassador. In the context of this text, that means you're basically a representative meant to bring people into a relationship with God. It suggests that everything unique about you, your talents, your education, your personality, are all tools meant for kingdom use.
To back this up, the source points to this verse to help define that ambassador role. The core job is called a ministry of reconciliation. So the whole purpose is framed as an act of healing, of closing the gap between people and God.
All right, so we've talked about the what and the why. Now we're getting to the how. If this is the big purpose, how are you supposed to actually live it out day to day? Well, the text gets really practical here and gives some super clear instructions.
It really boils down to these three things. Number one, don't stay silent. Just like Mordecai challenged Esther, the text urges you to speak up when your voice is needed. Number two, don't back down because of fear. Choose courage. And finally, number three, live with a laser focus on fulfilling this purpose you've been given.
So what this all boils down to is a fundamental choice. The source really presents just two paths. On one side, you have a life lived for yourself. It's all about personal gain, comfort, and self-interest. But on the other side, you have a life lived for a higher purpose, focused on, as the text puts it, the one who died for them and rose again. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most intense part of the message. It's about the mindset required to live this purpose-driven life. We're talking about a mindset of total, all-in, unwavering commitment. And here we are, full circle, right back to Esther.
This was her final answer. If I perish, I perish. I mean, just think about that. It's a statement of complete surrender to the mission. Her own survival was no longer the main goal. Fulfilling her purpose was. She was putting the outcome entirely in God's hands.
And it's not just Esther. The source brings in the Apostle Paul to drive this point home, and his mindset is almost identical. He says basically that his own life doesn't even matter to him compared to the importance of finishing his mission. It's that exact same unshakable resolve.
So, the bottom line, the crucial point that the source lands on is this. Living this way, committed to a higher will, a divine purpose, is presented as being worth everything. And that includes your own life. It's the ultimate value proposition that the text offers.
And so, we end right back where we started. But this time, the question is aimed directly at you. The text challenges you to look at your life, your job, your family, your community, not as random chance, but as a strategic position. And it leaves you with this one powerful question to think about. What is your time like this?